Good morning and welcome back to the morning commute with Opie living in the city. We are sitting at 83 degrees on the display. I don't know how cool we got this morning, but it's pretty warm. Maybe this trucker's sleepy right here. Sherman Trucking. I don't know how some of these truckers do it, because I would be so tired and want to just be in my own bed and get up and go to walk around the house anytime instead of waiting to the next truck stop or something like that. But I got me a cup of Joe here. I put it on the larger cup Keurig and a strong setting, so it's okay. I didn't bring any breakfast other than crackers along with some cheese, like this string cheese kind of things. I can tell it's a little earlier than usual. There's no sunrise. I think the sun starts coming up around like 4 something, 4:30ish maybe. That nozzle on the passenger side, it seems to pop out a little every now and then. But man, look at how quiet this freeway is on this end. Say when you're driving early in the morning or like after hours kind of thing, that you should try to stay away from the carpooling, because that's where the impaired drivers tend to drive on. I had one of my colleagues, he used to work night shift for many years before he retired, and we would talk about the different wrong way drivers in the Phoenix area, and he would always say, yeah, that's the best place to be, is on this side, because if they're impaired, they're going to be driving on the other side thinking that's the slow lane. So I told all my friends to drive on this side early in the morning, like early, just to be safe. There's not really much news on. There's just some like early morning talk shows, but we'll check them out.
4%. This is the futures is up. So it stayed steady, though, when the announcement came out. It's not like it's skyrocketed out of control. And I think because there's still a lot of confusion. You really don't know. The other thing is, and the court did talk about it, they said the difference, because they brought up the Nixon tariffs and said, well, number one, they used a different law, but number two, the Nixon tariffs, Nixon said, wrote, these are temporary. And as the court pointed out, the tariffs, that law, or that executive order lasted 4 months. They never implemented the tariffs according to the court. And there were very specific things. I think some of the things that might have hurt the administration is that is it a national emergency, or is it a way to raise taxes? Because the president came out and said, we're going to get rid of the income tax. So that's not about unfair trading practices at that point. That's a policy, and I don't know whether this influenced the court or not, but that's a policy to change the tax system. Did the court look at that and say, okay, there really isn't an emergency here, and they pointed that out, that where's the emergency where is the unusual? It has to be unusual and basically urgent emergency to use this bill, which does not include tariffs. Tariffs is not an action that's included in this particular bill. So it gets complicated as you get to this point. We'll talk more about it coming up. 866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Testing, trusting, guaranteed since 1920.
A late May, full of stormy weather, and slowed down farmer field work in much of the central and eastern U.S. Yet USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says,
now it looks like the pattern will be changing. We've got just another system or a system and a half to work through the system before the pattern changes.
So once a midweek system leaves the Atlantic seaboard and a late week storm departs from the Atlantic coast by early this weekend,
we will have had 2 weeks of very wet weather. I think for a lot of producers, it's a short-term annoyance because it's been a mighty struggle to get some of this planting done for corn and soybeans and cotton and other row crops. But in the end, this moisture will come back to be a big benefit as we move into the hotter and likely drier weeks ahead.
That warmer weather in the eastern two-thirds of the nation should develop as soon as early next week as a western heat wave moves along towards the Atlantic coast. I'm Rod Dane reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
For a limited time, get up to $80 in MasterCard virtual reward cards when you buy Shell Rotel. Offer ends May 31st, 2025. Terms apply. See Rotel.com/rewards for details.
Most folks just stick with the diesel engine oil they know, because why sweat the details? But you don't. You're one of those who make the switch, and we're talking to you. Cenex Maxtron synthetic diesel engine oils give you the smartest oil for the toughest conditions. While the others experience wear and tear, you give complacency a kick in the pants. Cenex Maxtron diesel engine oils, oil that runs smart.
Hey everybody, I'm Todd Dills, editor of Overdrive, and urging any owner or operator who hears this to take a close look at our Trucker of the Year competition for 2025. If you've controlled costs in a time of huge inflationary pressures like these past years and are running with solid profits to show for it, you're no doubt a worthy contender. Nominate yourself or the singular successful owner-operator you've admired for solid business practices via overdriveonline.com/toptrucker. And here's wishing a big congrats to owner-operator Alan Kitzhauer, current reigning champ as our Trucker of the Year. Join us in congratulating the owner in Overdrive, where you can read all about his one-truck independent business and learn from his path toward putting 4 million miles on the 1995 Kenworth T600 that powers the business. Find his story at the Trucker of the Year section of overdriveonline.com. Meanwhile, get involved in this year's Trucker of the Year award program yourself. You can do that at overdriveonline.com/toptrucker.
The St. Christopher Truckers Club is excited to offer a 12-week comprehensive health and wellness program for all Class A over-the-road truck drivers. St. Christopher Truckers Relief Fund.
My doctor said I could use something called a biosimilar. Then she told me what it is.
A biosimilar is a type of biologic medication. Just like brand name drugs have generic versions, original biologics can have biosimilars.
So I asked what the benefits are and if they work the same.
Biosimilars have the same safety, effectiveness, and quality as the original biologic. They also offer more medication options at potentially more competitive prices.
My doctor said I could learn more at fda.gov/biosimilars.
Driving high can get you a DUI. Instead of getting behind the wheel, designate a sober driver or rideshare. In Arizona, drug-impaired driving is illegal, even if the drug is legal. So drive sober or not at all. In Arizona, there's zero tolerance for impaired driving, since drugs slow your reaction time and cloud your judgment. If you feel different, you drive different. Visit drivesober.az.gov to learn more. This message is sponsored by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. Think you can handle a few drinks and still drive safely? Think again. Buzzed driving is drunk driving, and drunk driving can land you in serious trouble. In Arizona, there's zero tolerance for impaired driving. Even one drink can cost you thousands in fines and legal fees. Plus, take away your driver's license. So plan ahead. Use a designated driver or rideshare. Get the facts at drivesober.az.gov. This message is sponsored by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
My name is Mary Grace. I lost my mom to Alzheimer's in 2017. And 2 months after losing her, my dad was diagnosed. The earlier the diagnosis you have, the more time you have with your loved one. With my dad, now that I know what's coming, I'm able to create memories not only for him, but for myself. So when he can't remember, I'll remember for him.
For more information, contact us at alz.org or through the 24/7 helpline at 800-272-3900. Sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association.
Or group.
But the actual functional plant started sometime in 2008 and 9 in India, where we started producing locally albumin and IVIG.
Collecting plasma safely within a country is only the first step in a complex road to creating the medications needed. Often, a country is limited by whether it can locally process the plasma it collects, and if not, can it afford to keep the plasma frozen and send it for processing elsewhere in the world? India has made great progress in this area, but what is the outlook for other low and middle income countries?
They really need to work on diagnosis, accessibility, and affordability. Many countries, they are not able to start even the journey as I am talking to you, because you are dealing with a very politically sensitive subject like voluntary plant donation, and you want to make sure nobody gets exploited in this game, nobody gets mistreated, nobody gets ill-informed, and these projects need a lot of money, and financial stability also plays a very significant role.
The reliance on the U.S. market is also a concern for low and middle income countries.
70% patients depend on the plasma coming from the US. If any restriction comes,
Alright folks, you guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and share our videos. We would like to have more videos viewed. And we're trying to think of some ways to boost our viewership. So have a great day and